Gregory, why does he need to be both things?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a title bump. Doug Burgum ran against Trump in the Republican primaries, but he ran a very pro-Trump campaign. Trump kind of took a liking to him, especially with his wife as well, and wanted to give him a prominent position. Energy would have been a good fit, but it turns out that in the federal government, Interior actually has just as much sway over energy policy, especially sort of the fossil fuels that are underneath these public lands, as the Energy Department. But giving him this expanded role in the National Energy Council, I guess, presumably it's something similar to the Domestic Policy Council, the National Security Council. It's a sub-cabinet of departments of the federal government that will deal with energy issues, and so giving Burgum an outsized role in energy policy.
And Burgum also is one of the more measured, shall we say, names that we have on this list. You've got your Doug Burgums and your Marco Rubios, for example, people who are more establishment, sandwiched in there with the Matt Gaetzes and Tulsi Gabbards and others.
Absolutely. So I see, I think Burgum and Rubio will be met with open arms on Capitol Hill when it comes time for confirmation. The others might have a bit rockier of a path.
Well, I actually discussed that future path in the Senate, specifically when it comes to Matt Gaetz yesterday, when I spoke with someone in Republican leadership, the West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito, about that controversial pick. And this is what she told us last night.
We have a process here. We have to go through committee. It has to go through the Judiciary Committee. And so we're a long way from really seeing how this whole thing will end up in the end. But I think we should give due diligence to every single one of the president's appointees, and we should do it quickly.
And that due diligence might include figuring out what's in the Ethics Committee report in the House that now may not be formally issued because Matt Gaetz resigned after he was nominated AG. What exactly is going to happen here?
This is like the most sought after document in Washington right now. Everybody wants to know what is in this. And House Speaker Mike Johnson said we should not be releasing this. This sets a bad precedent to be releasing something on a former member, since Matt Gaetz is a newly former member of the House. But this was it is a bipartisan report, and things don't tend to stay secret on Capitol Hill for very long. It is floating out there. I suspect that we'll see it in some capacity, probably before too long. Senators are talking about perhaps, if it doesn't get leaked, seeing it in some kind of a closed setting so that they can evaluate leading up to the confirmation hearings. We'll see what happens, but everybody wants to see what is in this.
Well, and everybody wants to see how Senate leadership really navigates not just this, but other controversial picks like RFK Jr. for HHS. Gregory, some are saying this is a loyalty test, or could be seen as such, for the now incoming majority leader in the Senate, John Thune. Or is this strategy? Donald Trump knows these nominations are going down, so he can slide in someone after the fact that's going to end up looking like a hero.
Yeah, one of the things that struck me in that snippet from Senator Capito was talking about there's a process for this. And the process can be a friend to these nominees, or it can be the enemy, because the process means each of them is going to get a respectful hearing. Each of them may get if it gets that, a vote up or down. It'll be a vote up. If it's going to be a vote down, they might just pull the nomination. But the process also means FBI background checks. It means things like seeking this ethics committee report. And it means investigating the record of somebody like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. What are his plans for the Department of HHS? What does he think about vaccines? How does that conflict with the science that has been universally accepted around vaccines and food and medicine over the past few decades? So the process could go either way.
Well, and it could take some time, theoretically. The other thing we heard from Senator Capito last night, we've been hearing from a lot of lawmakers, is that this should happen quickly, that the president has a mandate to leave and to have those he wants close to him be close to him early in the administration. What realistic timeline are we looking at for the processing of all of these?
So I think we're going to see confirmation hearings in the first weeks of January, leading up to the inauguration, which, of course, is January 20th. During the first Trump term, we saw, I believe it was Mattis and maybe one or two others who were confirmed on the day of the inauguration. I think they're hoping for that kind of cadence. Maybe Doug Burgum could get confirmed, and we will have a Secretary of the Interior in place on January 20th. I'm not entirely sure about Attorney General or some of these other picks. Process. That is what we are hearing from Senate Republicans right now. It's what we heard from Senator Thune last night in his interview on Fox News. It's what we've heard from Senator Cornyn, and they're going to be reluctant to give up the steering wheel on this. Although I will say, I think it is hard for them. It will be hard for Senate Republicans to bat away 4 nominees. Maybe 1 or 2 sacrificial lambs, but when you look at the universe, and I think there are about 4 that are generating the most agita right now, and I think there'll be some strategic picking and choosing.
Well, and they're still picking and choosing to be done for Donald Trump, like Treasury Secretary, which we've all been waiting for. I know it's only been a week and change, Gregory, but this week feels like it has lasted for a month. And we all keep thinking we're getting close to a Treasury pick because he talked about the economy so much on the campaign trail. So why is he waiting so long to announce his economic team?
Yeah, that's a good question. And back in 1992, Bill Clinton campaigned on It's the Economy's Stupid, and he put a priority on getting his economic team in place, perhaps even to the exclusion of equally important national security picks. Here, Trump has done it the other way around, despite campaigning on the economy. It may be in large part due to the team of rivals sort of effect that's going on here with a lot of people vying for the job. We understand that 2 of the finalists for this are Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick, 2 Wall Street heavyweights, each have their own allies and people who are lobbying for them. Trump likes that kind of auditioning for the role. After all, he was on TV, on The Apprentice, getting people to compete for jobs. But there's a limit to that. And reportedly, what we're hearing is he's getting a little frustrated with that process and now seeking out other names. So this short list may even be growing. And he might be seeking some name we may even not have heard of yet.
If the names on that list don't end up being Treasury Secretary, are we likely to see them with a different role in the administration, whether at the National Economic Council or Council of Economic Advisors? Or if you don't make the Treasury Secretary position after lobbying so hard for it, is that a sign that Trump is saying, all right, you will not have a role in this administration?
If you're the head of an investment bank or a Wall Street titan, Director of the National Economic Council does not have exactly the same ring to it as Treasury Secretary. There's also the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors. There are some key economic roles that the president does have. U.S. Trade Representative. Robert Lighthizer was in that role in the first administration and may be looking for promotion into Treasury Secretary, too, which is another factor that's complicating this. Everybody wants that top job. Treasury is most prominent, but whoever doesn't get that might not be willing to take what's perceived as a lesser role in the White House.
And just quickly here, Megyn, basically all the House wants is to make sure that this is not someone pulled from the House, right?
Right. We're getting awfully close to. We don't have the final count for the House, but we do know it will be a narrow Republican majority. We already have Matt Gaetz now, who has stepped aside. We have at least 2 picks from the House. And if I were Mike Johnson, I'd be getting a little nervous about that majority and the Speaker vote come January.